Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, we're finishing up the front end on this 63. We have to install the side fenders on the front, as well as a couple bonding strips under the hood for some custom panels to make this thing a full rusted mod. So be sure to stick around. So last week we got the front end glued on the 63, and the goal for this week is to get the side fenders on both sides. So that means we have to get them to fit nice against the door. Right now, if you push them in, the door sticks out a little further. So we got to build this up with a little bit of fiberglass filler. We're gonna have to check to make sure our flange fits good here. We're gonna have to get our inner fender glued in. We need to install our bonding strip on each side that goes something kind of like that. We need to glue the top of the inner fenders to the fender caps to set our hood arch. And then I want to attach the closeout panels over here for this custom dynamic Corvette inner fender. Goes from there up to the firewall. So we have a bonding strip we have to glue on the firewall, and then we can attach these little panels. So it's a bunch of kind of small things, but they're all going to take a decent bit of time. So we got to add some on this side. This side we have to add a little bit more fiberglass filler, like right in the middle. It's pretty close. So I'm pretty sure I have the front end dialed in. I took a bunch of measurements. I took the wheels and tires off because they weren't the same size, and it was sitting a little lopsided. So I have it on jack stands. I checked that the floor is level, the frame is level, and then I just roughly kind of measured and made sure the level is about level, and it looks like we're pretty well spot on. I have this body line looking nice. It just took a little bit of grinding. In the last video I mentioned I had a hard time kind of getting this to line up, which this needs a clamp to hold this down. You see it's sticking up. But it didn't take a whole lot of manipulation to get that to fit. It's just these parts have different thicknesses and you had to whittle away at the bonding strip. So this may need a little more tweaking, but that's looking pretty good. And you can see back here, it's kind of hard to get a clamp exactly where you need to here. This needs to come up a little bit. So we need to take my fixture that's standing up here, take it apart and put it over the car, and that clamping fixture will give us a point right here to push off of, and boom, that'll get our panel right where we need it to go. And I have everything prepped in here. I need to prep where the firewall is, and we need to prep over about in this area on the back side where the inner fender goes. Now, I measured off of my car in the past, and it's roughly, a couple fingertips away. That's about what we're looking for. So I'm going to trace this out, and then we'll grind the back side here. I also like to, and again, I'm not going to be able to do this super accurately because this panel's not where it needs to be. I'm doing this one-handed. But roughly, you want to throw a string on here. Make sure your door line is running with the body line here. Check it with the quarter panel too, but check it up here, and it should start to dive somewhere in this area. The panel will start, the body line will start to curve the other way from this height down to the front. So we have to play with that. This looks pretty good. It's always nice to see when you use the string that it works. So we'll prep the back of these panels. I also got the hood on so we can set our hood height. That looks good. It needs to come back just a little bit. You can see our wiper grill height and everything should be good. It's just a matter of pulling this hood back. So we got the side fenders glued on, and I didn't fully fill up this seam right here with glue because it kind of runs out. So we're going to sand this and prep it to fill with glue that's a little bit thicker. So kind of ignore that, but I have my fixture set up here, and that lets me push directly where I need to, put pressure on the panel to keep it flat, rigid, so it's not bowing out, keep a consistent gap, and it allows me to not have to use screws to do this, which is nice. If you drill a hole and put a screw in here to keep this clamped, it'll keep it clamped. You have to fix that hole, and that little hole could come back later. But you can see how nice our door gap is and stuff. It all looks really good. It's workable, and you can see over here, I had to get a little creative. I had to put a clamp to clamp off of, basically. Give me another point to hold on to so it's at the right height. Eventually I might improve my jig and add more bars to hook up to. But this side, I had to get a little more creative. Again, we still have good gaps. We need to fill in this void, but our door fits really nice. Body line flows through there. But over here, this was a bit of my genius here. So I needed to hold a clamp down here. So I put a clamp, and off of that clamp is a clamp, and off of that clamp is another clamp, which allowed me to push off of with that clamp. So that might be my best clamping apparatus yet. So that looked good. Now let's take all this off. We need to fill that void, pop the hood, see how it looks under there, and we need to start putting those closeout panels under the hood. So I ground the seam down here, and I put in some more bonding adhesive, and I wiped it all down just to try to make it so it, made less of a mess. And I'm gonna let this cure up, then we'll go over this with 80. And if there's some low spots, that's okay. It's gonna get body worked anyways. I just wanted to build it up and kind of make it look like the way Dynamic did and the way the factory did. I used their Pro set that they sent me. And I'm also trying out this little Ryobi angle grinder or die grinder, just to see for the home shop if we can expand into some electric tools instead of having to invest in a compressor and all the accessories. Anyways, the inside of this looks pretty good. Again, it needs cleaned up, but I kind of just used my finger to smear that in, and this is all locked up tight. That looks good. Now I need to work on these closeout panels. You can see on the inner fender there's a step where the original inner fender just kind of would have flowed into here. This step is designed for these pieces to fit. This is for the passenger, that one's for the driver. They also come with bonding strips, and we need to do some trimming because the chassis is gonna be in the way for these panels to fit. But this bonding strip is gonna come in here somewhere like that. But first we gotta get that panel to fit. That panel will tell us where this bonding strip needs to go. We'll glue this. I'm not gonna screw these panels to the car. I'll let the owner figure out exactly how he wants to fasten those and where he wants to put his fasteners. So we need to notch on both sides and get those bonding strips on. So I sanded down our seams, and again, they're not perfect. There's a bunch of lows, which you'll see all of them. But the most important thing is we have a nice transition between all the panels, especially this little joint here where you have 1, 2, 3 panels and a lot of different shapes meeting up. So all that looked awesome. It's gonna need ground out, filled one more time to get it perfect, but we'll leave that for the guy that does the final body work. But you can see it's a little low right there, but that's pretty darn good. I'm happy with the fit up. It's definitely a nice front end. So this side was a little uglier with some of my bumps in here. This side settled a little more, but it's all flush. Door gaps look nice. This front end turned out really, really good. This is probably the best front end that we've put on. I really like doing front ends that aren't one piece, that have this split for the side fenders. I think I've made my mind up and I'm never installing a one-piece front end again. If I have a one piece, which I do, I'm just gonna zip it along here like that, put bonding strips in it. Some people put bonding strips in a one-piece front end that has these pieces attached to try to trick people. So if you feel up in here, you can feel the bonding strip. I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm just gonna do it so we can seam it. And the best part about this, when you seam it, you still have to do this body work, but you don't have to move body lines because every Corvette's a little different. If you start shimming your doors in and out to fit your car, to fit your bird cage, to fit your front end, this distance could change. Every door is a little different. And whenever they made those molds for the one-piece front ends, they built it off of a car. Well, every car is a little different in this position. So depending on what car they made it off of could screw it up, and you may be chasing body lines, and it's not fun. I've been there, it's not fun. But the way Dynamic and Vetmasters did it is they tooled it off of NOS parts. And they're doing it the way GM did, having the seam, giving you that allowance. GM wasn't dumb. They put this here in this exact spot for a reason. Not only so they could release it from the mold, but so that way you could adjust it to get them to fit so they could build them on the assembly line. And I think that's all really key. So this car turned out awesome. We also have our 2 bonding strips in for our little cover panels that go back there. So I did some trimming on those, kind of roughen them in. I'll let them fine tune them and figure out how to fasten them. I wouldn't glue them because I think you're gonna wanna put you could put an expansion tank or a computer on this side, and on this side maybe you could tuck the battery in. You could hide stuff in there. You could put a kill switch in there. I don't know if you could hide stuff for your air conditioning lines or heater hoses. You might be able to run them through here under the inner fender and poke them out over here or whatever side they're going to be on. You could get creative by using these panels to hide stuff. And if you are creative with your wiring, like you could drill a hole in the top of your tunnel, like right here, drop the wiring harness down, run it up the back of the bell housing, and this fits tight up to the bell housing, run it over underneath the intake, and you could have everything hidden under the hood pretty easily. So this all turned out nice. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost wrapped up on this split window. I've got some more cleaning up to do. We're gonna get this thing pushed into the other garage. In the next video, you'll see doing some repairs on the hood for this car. So after we do those repairs, we'll put the hood on and this thing will be ready to go home. But after I move this thing to another garage, because it's time to pull the body on the 58 Corvette. That'll be one of the next videos coming up. I have to modify a cart and I need some more space in the garage. So we're gonna play some Shuffle Corvette again, and then these two will be heading home. So I got a lot of work to do, and I'll catch you guys later.